My name is Raechel Wastesicoot. I'm a mixed Mohawk artist, born and raised in Oshawa. Áhsire, ceremony is where you are, is my quilt project with the Create Space residency program. This project came from the idea of place and what it means to be an Indigenous person. Me growing up without culture, I had to find place, and I'm still finding place. I was fortunate enough to attend moon ceremonies at the Native Canadian Centre. Indigenous moon ceremonies are really important for Indigenous women and girls. They happen on a monthly basis with the full moon coming, and we sit around in a circle and we share stories, and I found that everyone that I talk to has that sense of ceremony within themselves. When I sit and I have family suppers with my parents, that's ceremony. When I'm sitting with my partner and we're just talking about our day, that's ceremony. So I think it was really important for the quilt to resemble that. So beading is ceremony. So every time I go to my beading mat, like, that's ceremony, and that's why we do it in a good way, and we make sure that we are in good spirits, that we feel full, and that we feel that our heart's in a good place. The evolution of my beadwork practice, I think, is really significantly shown in this work. If you look at the quilt, the way that the strawberries fall down is representative of like my own journey as a beadwork artist. So you'll see at the top it's very like straightforward beading with like very primary colors. Like it was with great intention to have the beadwork journey chronicalized. There's a lot of raised beadwork, and so it's my first time ever doing something like that in a project that's being shown. So raised beadwork is a Mohawk beading practice, and I was really lucky to learn it from fellow Mohawk kin who are also beadworkers and really practice it and show that in my quilt. The idea for the strawberries came from the berry fast that happens with Indigenous women when they have their first moon and they don't eat berries, and then we come together and we eat berries together. And I feel like throughout this residency, I've seen strawberries just everywhere I go. Quilting, I learned throughout this residency, is ceremony as well. Because of the time it takes and the patience, I traveled 8 hours to sit with Cherie Bonaparte and really connect with her and her family. And as an Indigenous person, being able to connect with another Indigenous artist, I think was priceless. Thinking about the significance of quilting and blanket making, and across many Indigenous cultures, not even just Haudenosaunee culture, was really important to me. I just really wanted to feel that like traditional sense of creation, and I hope that people can see the way that I was able to self-reflect throughout the quilt. So the bowl is actually yellow on purpose to pay homage to my Italian culture, where we would gather together as family, and that's my non-Indigenous side, and that was still ceremony. And my nonna would come in with this heaping bowl of hot pasta in a yellow bowl, and she still has that bowl. So I think about that bowl and I think about ceremony. The best thing ever was just having the opportunity to really sit at the little studio and connect with the community. There's a lot of artists here, and they showed me their work. Like, I had little kids coming up and showing me their little drawings, and then I had folks that are retired that are showing me their knitting projects. It was so incredible to see the diversity of art that's here in this little town, and I really think that spaces like this and towns like Port Hope really thrive on the creative community. So áhsire being in Town Hall, I think, is incredibly poignant. With Indigenous artists, especially Indigenous artists, as we like kind of break through westernized spaces, whether it be like galleries or institutions, it's so wonderful to see Indigenous work in spaces that we like traditionally weren't allowed to be in, or we were excluded from. Like, it's really working to decolonize the space. So this is actually my first formal residency program. I've never formally taken a course on quilting. A lot of what I do is self-taught or community taught. So I think it can be really intimidating to apply yourself to studios or to residency programs where you might think that you're not the most accomplished artist. I don't think that that should be a barrier for folks. I think that it's really just important to believe in your craft, believe in your practice, believe in your work, because it's going to speak for itself.